Alright, hello and welcome back to another episode of Diplo Strats. It's been a while. Today we're here. I'm here with Ezio. Hi Ezio.
Hello?
And we are covering Season 7 of the Nexus final. This is the Powa final. It's named after Powa, who was the player who won Season 2 and Season 3. If you've watched the earlier videos on those. He unfortunately passed away a little bit before this game began, so this tournament was named in his honor. And we have 7 players who are probably quite familiar to you, who are in this game in the final here. The first Ewok was the champion of the previous Nexus season, despite having some mishaps with entering certain orders that that ended up with him nearly losing that game. That's worth a watch, I think, if you haven't seen it already. We have Jordan playing England. Jordan is Conk. He has renamed himself. But you should probably also be familiar with him. He was in Season 3 and 4, I believe. Go Horns Go in Germany there. He again is quite a seasoned competitor in Nexus. He's been in the Season 2 finals. He was in, I think, the Season 3 finals as well. Krill is Matthew Krill. He is a renowned virtual face-to-face player. He was in the DBNI last year and the year before. Tarsia is a new face in Nexus, but had an absolutely amazing qualifying game for this, so definitely one to watch. John Anderson, another very good virtual face-to-face player. He was in the DBNI the year before last and won a good amount of virtual face-to-face tournaments. And finally, the flying boat is also known as Karthik Konath, who is a DBN commentator, a very successful virtual face-to-face player as well. So, quite the stacked field here, right? At the moment, the power rankings are in order of power selection, so the power selection was through the Paris method, which means that the tiebreak is reverse order of power selection. So this game runs until 1910. At the end of 1910, the player with the most supply centers wins the tournament. If there is a tie, then the player who chose last will win. So the flying boat will win against anyone else if he ties. John Anderson will win against anyone except the flying boat. Tarsia will win against anyone except those two, and so on and so forth. And finally, the last thing you might have noticed here, the map has some interesting colours on it. We're checking out Backstabber's colorblind mode and seeing how well that works. So if you are colorblind and have any feedback on that, please let us know how well it works here. I'm not sure how good it is, because Russia is green in this one, and Austria is red, which I assume are the problem ones, but I have no idea. So, please let us know on that front. And I think that's about everything, so let's jump straight into this game. Ezio, is there anything that stands out to you about this opening here?
Nothing particularly surprising or nothing truly crazy. The most abnormal part of the opening, I think, is England. Choosing to open hard south with Liverpool to Wales and London to English Channel.
Certainly a big commitment there. But yeah, I think also Armenia, right, is a bit unusual, the bounce here.
Yep.
But yeah.
Oh, just for the viewers, was this a press game or was this a gunboat game?
Oh, this was a press game, yes. So it's been a little while since we covered one of those, but players can communicate.
This is one that you can pretty clearly tell that it's a press game just based on the opening. Like, Russia is not going to open Sevastopol to Armenia ever unless it's discussed and agreed upon. And Italy rarely goes into Piedmont, but Italy goes into Piedmont much more frequently when England moves into the English Channel. So these things are, from the openings, it seems pretty clearly likely that it is a press game, but hey, look, it actually is one. This wasn't just a random gunboat.
Yep. So are you a fan of this English opening then in a high-level game? In, like, just going all out towards the south, very anti-France?
I don't dislike it. It's not. This isn't my preferred opening, but I think it's. I'm sure we've seen England in high-level play have good results with this particular opening. And my feeling about the opening in diplomacy is it's gotta be you gotta trust your reads. And if you have good conversation with Germany, bad conversation with France, and you think you're gonna be better off working with Germany, then sometimes you can just play to it and say, hey, let's go. Or maybe it's an elaborate ruse and he's decided, hey, France, Germany's trying to get us to stab you, whatever, whatever, I'm gonna do the thing, yada yada. Like I think this opening is well within the realm of like totally playable, and it matters how it gets executed rather than anything bad happening in the opening.
Yeah. And it's, of course, a bit of a guessing game here because England can attempt a convoy into Brest, which then France would want to go back to Brest with the Mid Atlantic Ocean, but then England could try and convoy into Belgium or Picardy as well. And if you go back into Brest, then you lose your ability to build the best units against the English player, right? As well as failing to pick up the Iberian Senza. I feel like the best response to an opening like this as France is usually just to completely ignore it and go all out into Iberia anyway. But it can lead to some pretty horrendous situations, especially if that army gets convoyed straight into Brest, and then you're like, oh god.
Yeah, and with the Italian army in Piedmont, it makes it more challenging to completely go for Iberia because Piedmont can just tap Marseille, and so are you going to commit Burgundy to move to Marseille? Because that feels bad. If it doesn't bounce, you just pull the unit south when you need pressure in the north.
Yeah.
Why this move to Piedmont is far more effective if you know England is moving to the English Channel. So, yeah, pretty sad, pretty scary. It makes me feel like there's absolutely been communication there. Just right now, I'm very confident.
Yep. I agree. So, could be some bad times for France incoming. I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Something that I do think is interesting, right? If you're Russia, ever want to do this move where you bounce Turkey out of Armenia?
I don't usually like this kind of move just because it gives up control of the Black Sea, right?
Yeah.
The only good thing about this is that it gives Turkey the chance to go to Constantinople with the fleet instead of bouncing you in Black Sea, but clearly Turkey is not doing that here, so whether that's a stab or not, I don't know.
Yeah, this looks to me like that as part of negotiations, Turkey just got his way in the negotiations, and he's like, "Hey, you're gonna have to waste your fleet move bouncing me out of Armenia rather than bouncing me out of the Black Sea." I feel like that was just how the negotiations ended up going down, and I think it was a pretty big win for Turkey. Now, my question is, was this a win at the expense of Turkey's long-term relationship with Russia, and we can see Russia look to stab Turkey in the future, or was it just a clean victory where Turkey convinced Russia this was the best move for their possible alliance? I don't know.
It is a bit odd. I have been seeing this Armenia bounce quite a lot recently, especially like in virtual face-to-face. It gets pitched a lot. I don't like it, like, ever. I think if you get this pitched to you as Russia, you should probably just go, can't you just hold in Smyrna and we can bounce in Black Sea instead?
Absolutely.
If it's agreed, like, if Turkey says, okay, I'm going to go to Constantinople with my fleet, if you do this, then yes, I can see it being decent, except for the fact that you might, you know, you might just get tricked anyway.
Then Turkey's lied to you in the spring of '01, and that just, I don't think Turkey wants to piss off Russia that much. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe.
that's fair. I feel like if you're gonna do something like this, you might as well do the slingshot, right? And send Smyrna to Ankara instead, and then blow up Armenia in the fall. Although that's probably worse for Russia than this, because you can't support yourself into Romania then. But I don't know. I don't like this. I think that I've made that much clearer. Right? I wouldn't agree to
Anything
this.
else you want to talk about in the opening?
So the rest of it looks pretty standard to me. Yeah, there's nothing out of the ordinary here, right?
Alright, let's see the fall moves.
Alright, through to fall 1901. So,
Well, look at France. Just guess right, man.
absolutely, that is a beautiful moveset by France here. Correctly, so I would have gone. Obviously, I don't have access to the press, right? But if I had just gone with my strategy, I would have been in some significant amount of trouble here. I'd still be on the same SC count, but you'd have English army in Brest, and that is a bit of a problem.
Yeah, you'd much rather that army stay in Wales if you're France trying to stay alive.
Absolutely, yes. So, good
Yeah.
read by France. Very good read, although they do only get one build regardless.
Yeah, but one build when there's 3 hostile units on your borders and no one is I'm very content with that. Right? A build and nothing landing on your, not losing any home. I think this is as well as France could have hoped this turn went.
Yeah,
Um,
completely agree.
Meanwhile, Germany just quietly walks into 3 centers.
Yep, and they bounce Russia out of Sweden, which is an interesting one. I'm not sure. Like, that's very committing of an alliance with England, I assume. But they're not outright attacking France either yet, so.
So, do you think this whole Bulgaria to Armenia was a misorder? Because I'm pretty sure it can't possibly be a misorder in actual, real, 24-hour phase. I assume this wasn't a live game, right? Since this was played online.
Yeah, this was not live. This was, I think it was like 48 hours per phase, so any
Right.
misorder is going to be really tough to justify.
Yeah. And so it's like this Bulgaria. Why didn't he just bounce Russia out of Romania?
It's a really good question. I don't know. Like, I was assuming you were saying that the misorder was Black Sea convoy Bulgaria to Armenia, and that, you know, you have your silly little bounce there, and you say, "Oh, actually, Russia, I accidentally ordered Black Sea support smyrna to Armenia instead." But yeah, no, Bulgaria should absolutely have gone to Romania if you're countering the Russian here. It's
If you're taking Armenia with support, like, yeah.
yeah, this is this is why you don't do the Armenia bounce, by the way, as Russia, because now suddenly you've lost control over the Black Sea and Turkey is in Armenia. Although you do get the build, so you're not completely out of it yet.
Yeah, but holding on to Romania is going to be a tough sell. Um,
Yeah, depends a lot
Normally,
on what
Russia can
Austria
count
does.
on Italy, right? Normally Russia can count on the Austrian and the Italian to put pressure on Turkey here. But Italy, after looking like Italy was going for the Lepanto, pulled out and took Tunis with the fleet rather than the army. So there's no quick move to the Eastern Med coming.
Yeah, it's it's really interesting, actually. I don't know. So the Italian moves are kind of odd. I don't know why you would send Apulia to Rome instead. Well, I mean, you're going to Tunis because you think France is weak, right? And you want to jump that way instead of blocking your route with the army in Tunis. So that does make sense. Although covering up Rome is a bit odd. I guess they just want to get back as fast as possible without maybe breaking a demilitarized zone in Venice. But yeah, the other thing that stood out to me as odd over here was just Russia putting fleet in Romania and army in Sevastopol, so they didn't even support themselves to Romania. And it's not like the opposite would have been risky. They could have just done Sevastopol support Romania to Ukraine to Romania here, which would have been totally fine and would have guaranteed them the center. So doing it like this specifically means that you were thinking Black Sea would go for Sevastopol and you wanted to bounce them out and build a fleet? I guess.
That's the only move that this is better against. It just also requires Bulgaria to not be tapping Romania, which just seems unlikely. I mean, yeah, I don't really get this move set, and I think Russia's pretty sad about it right now because they'd much rather have an army in Romania here on their fleet instead, but oh well.
Yeah, the one upside to having the fleet in Romania is that you can just say to Austria, look, I'm completely on your side here. There's nothing I can do to harm you now. So
I guess. Is that an upside, or is that just Austria being like, oh great, I'm going to take Galicia now?
I mean, they absolutely can do that, that's fair.
Right, and that's what terrifies me about this whole thing, but whatever. I mean, Russia is, so, like, it's rare that I feel like 1901 just has such clear, like, people doing well and people doing poorly, but, like, this map is stratified quite quickly.
Yeah.
Shall we see builds?
Well, shall we do something very different here? If you think that it's very clear who's doing well, who's doing badly, shall we just do a power rankings in 01?
Yeah, I mean, sure. We can get a nice quick one out of the way.
Actually, let's go to builds first. That is probably a good idea.
Yeah, the builds will give us a lot more insight about what's going on here, right? If there's an army built by Turkey instead of a fleet, for example, that'll be very telling.
Yes, although it is a fleet here in Constantinople, which is an interesting decision. Usually you would see that in Smyrna. I guess it's in Con just to prop up Bulgaria and stop the Austrian from just taking its trace up.
Yeah, and there's no fleet in the Ionian Sea, so you don't have to worry about a move into the Eastern Med.
Yeah.
In the spring. So
that's
I Constantinople build here.
I think a lot of the other builds were kind of forced. Fleet Naples is the only place that could have really been. Army Moscow was forced as well.
What wasn't forced was Germany waiving the third build.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. That is, they're trying to decrease their power level, I guess, just a little bit. I can.
Yeah, this shows a lot of restraint on the behalf of the German player.
Yeah,
a lot of restraints.
I don't know that I like it with building two armies here. I feel like you have such easy access to Sweden now. You might as well just build a fleet and go for it.
Yeah, if I was in the German situation, had seen this spring, I would have been incredibly tempted to build Fleet Kiel, Army Berlin, Army Munich, and then just take the Baltic Sea, Prussia, and Silesia, and say, "Hey, Russia, nice centers you got there. Mostly leave France and England alone, and then just call it a day." But this shows much more restraint, saying, "Hey, I think the East is going to be okay if I sit back. He probably knows what Austria is up to." I don't know. This is not what I would do, but not what I would do.
I guess it's significantly playing balance of power, right? Because if it's obvious you're going to take Sweden here, then I think there is a chance England and France make up and just go for you instead.
Yeah, there's a chance. I mean, I feel like you could probably assuage that by promising each of them help against the other and like doing things to be minorly annoying, right, to both sides. And then like England, you say, "Hey, once I take Sweden, I'll get into Finland. I'll get you into St. Pete. We call that a day." France, you say, "Hey, I'm gonna help keep him out of Picardy and stuff and whatever." I mean, I don't know. I whatever, different play style, right? And I think this one is less likely to just get insta targeted. Because I think this is just going to delay his growth.
Yeah, that's true. I do... I wonder as well, this could be Germany falling into the old German trap of, if you don't build the fleet immediately, when do you build the fleet? Because their bounce out of Sweden is very clearly pro-English, right? It's signaling an England-Germany alliance. And then... now no fleet builds is signaling that even more. But then if you're locking yourself into an England-Germany, then you quickly run out of excuses to build that second fleet.
Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult for Germany to build a fleet and not follow it up with an attack on England in the future.
Right. But then...
Now, I mean, to be fair, England does not look particularly strong on this board, and so it seems plausible to me that Germany can find a situation when he makes peace with France, and he does this while building a fleet, and then he's like, "Hey, France has the upper hand here, I'm just going to walk my way into the North Sea or whatever. I think it's totally possible for something like that to happen in the future. Whereas if it's a stronger England, right, like, I don't know. England isn't that weak. I mean, England's fine. It's just a fleet not being in the North Sea, right? It's just such a feeling of difference, because if you build a fleet in Kiel, like, sometimes England is just going to go into the Helgoland bite. Unclear if that's going to happen in this game, right? Ever.
Yeah. I mean, this was one of the downsides of that super aggressive early English opening. If you go down to Wales with your army, you're basically saying, I'm going to vacate North Sea in the fall. Obviously, Germany didn't take advantage of that by jumping into North Sea, but they still have chances to. England can't. Well, England can back out of Norway if they just peace out Russia. They can just say, okay, I'm going to move this back to North Sea now. But if they move London to North Sea, they're kind of giving up a lot of strength on the French front.
Yeah.
So
it just seems super likely that France is going to be attacking the English Channel, and so London is forced to hold the English Channel. And so if England backs out of Norway to North Sea, I mean, it looks like it could be an EGR. Can't remember the last time I've seen that be an alliance.
Especially with Germany bouncing Russia out of Sweden, that's not exactly the first move you expect from an EGR.
True.
But hey, maybe it works for them.
We're going to do power rankings.
Yes, we should do power rankings. So
yeah, we've been talking about this a fair bit. So Germany, obviously number one.
Yes.
6 centers, no enemies, nobody even looking like they might potentially be an enemy. Just Germany, great. I think Austria number 2. Austria number 2 because Russia and Turkey appear to be not friendly, and Italy appears to be very much friendly with Austria, and Germany is obviously friendly with Austria. Again, no enemies, potential for growth from the neighbors that are fighting each other. Only reason lower is because it's Austria, not Germany. Also, 5 centers, not 6, but that's pretty low. The one after that, I'm going to say, is probably Turkey or Italy. I think Italy is probably higher than Turkey, in my estimation. But Turkey's Turkey. I don't know, what do you think?
I think Italy's position is certainly safer than Turkey's, right? Because Austria could very quickly just decide, hey, I'm going to come for Bulgaria and side with the Russian, and then Turkey's position is far, far worse. Whereas,
yep, I agree.
I guess Austria could go after Italy. This is like one of the few situations where it would make some sense. But I wouldn't expect them to, because people don't go after Italy as Austria early. That's just the thing that they don't do. So Italy is likely to get some of that southern French, some of those southern French centres no matter what, whereas Turkey, it very much depends on which way Austria decides to go.
Yeah, I think that's totally reasonable. My counter argument is that Turkey is Turkey and Italy is Italy. And so if Turkey gets another dot, suddenly it's not close to being close. But I agree with your statements about how much safer Italy is right now. I think if Italy had actually just gone for the standard Lepanto, I don't think it would be close. I think Italy's position would be significantly better than Turkey's. But here it's less clear to me. But yeah, I think let's go with Italy over Turkey. And so then you've got England, France, and Russia. I think we should probably put Russia in after Turkey, because I think it's more like. So the reason why I think that Russia is below Turkey is because I think it is more likely that Austria attacks Russia in this position than that Austria attacks Turkey.
Right.
That is why I am making the argument. I think that Austria is a favorite to make that attack here. But because there's a very reasonable chance that Austria doesn't do that, I think Russia still has a good chance to do well this game because of that potential.
Yep, that makes sense.
Now we're just stuck with England and France, and both of their 0-1s sucked, and they've got a really terrifying Germany to deal with. France is sad because Italy is looking poised to pressure France from the south even, so France can't afford to just say, hey, England, let's be friends and let's go kill Germany. He's on 6 centers. which is normally how the pitch goes. But that's not. I don't. That seems difficult to happen. So both of them can't really make friends, and so they're just joint 6-7.
I mean, I do have the way that I've got power rankings set up is that I do have to decide on one of them being above the other, right?
All right, France is 6 because it's France.
Okay, I would usually say that's fair, but I feel like France being attacked by Italy kind of negates the French advantage, right? Because usually the advantage is that Lyon, West, Naf, and Piedmont are not contested. That's
Yeah, I mean, all right, fair. Let's go. Sure. All right, France is worst. France is less. England's 6. I think that's totally reasonable.
all right. So there are our current power rankings then for 1901. Not a power ranking we usually do, but yeah,
This was a very cool winter of 01.
Yes, it certainly was. Let's go ahead to the spring.
All right, well.
Oh, well, I am regretting
I
putting
think putting England above France was a mistake.
You don't say.
I stand by that.
Oh, boy. I mean, England is going to go plus a censor from Sweden, but then
minus a center from Edinburgh.
Yeah, that's a slight issue here. Wow. Yeah, so this is obviously the problem with not having anything able to defend North Sea. You have to have full trust in Germany, and like, if Germany just decides...
Germany waived the bill. He was so friendly. Very nice move here. But meanwhile, Germany's also really sad because there is now an Austrian army in Tyrolia, Bohemia, Silesia, and there's a Russian army in the Baltic. Excuse me, it's a Russian army in Silesia.
Oh man, I didn't even see the Austrian moves. I was just looking at Silesia and Baltic. But yeah, this is...
Yeah, so Munich looks pretty lost at this moment in time, yes?
Yep.
And Berlin is also lost because there's... I mean, okay, if Sweden cuts Baltic, Berlin can be saved. But,
I'm sure that will be easy to convince the English player to do, right?
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah, I mean, so Germany's gaining 1 there, but losing 2?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think France is absolutely over the moon happy about what just happened.
Definitely.
Truly over the moon.
Very much so. Especially, like, Italy didn't move into Western Mediterranean either. They're playing the sort of non-committal Tyrrhenian to... I mean, Naples could have just gone to Ionian, Tunis to Western Mediterranean. I feel like you've got a better...
Yeah, for a similar approach, it's more aggressive against France. And maybe Italy was like, I don't want to hurt France too much. I don't know.
I think it's more likely...
Like I said, I don't like this playstyle.
I think it's more likely Italy just went, okay, if Constantinople moves out and Greece is there, if there's an Austria-Turkey thing going on, I want to be able to defend against it. But you can't play that safe constantly, right?
Not as Italy.
Well, yeah, you need to be looking for that 5th DOS, and the way that this is set up now, I don't think Italy gets a 5th DOS anytime soon.
Yeah, this looks like one of those games that Italy just sits around and does nothing forever. Like, Austria's going +2 this year. But look, 5 years from now, who knows, right? Maybe Italy finds an opportunity to make a well-placed stab in there.
Yeah, that's fair. It is it's a 10-year game, so if you're not getting eliminated, you've still got a chance. Especially at this point.
Yeah, kind of. So Russia, I think, is also incredibly happy because, as we said, the war between Russia and Turkey relied on Austria. Austria chose to attack Turkey.
Yep.
So that's great.
I think this whole joint attack on Germany was probably a great sell from one or the other of them as to why the Austria-Russia was much better than the Austria-Turkey, right? Because being able to take Munich and Berlin this early on and, like, neuter your biggest opposition in the game right now, pretty solid advantage, I guess.
Say. In my experience as Austria, this goes poorly for me. In my experience, once I kill Germany, I am the biggest player on the board, and I get attacked because Italy will hit me and Turkey will still exist in the corner. And if I'm the biggest player, it's really tough to sell a pitch of an alliance to Turkey. In this case, if you can kill Turkey simultaneously, you've got a chance, a sliver of a chance, but it's going to devolve into war between you and Russia, and you just have to be ready to win that war, which in my experience is difficult because Russia has the Black Sea, usually. So I don't only like this play from Austria. I just normally don't attack Germany, but if you're going to attack Germany, you want to do it like this.
Yeah, it's a pretty significant push, and it can even potentially get, like, Kiel over the long term. Maybe not, actually, because you only get the two... Well, you have 3 units adjacent, and Germany has a lot of units to defend. But yeah, the other problem I do see with this now that you're talking about it is just how are you going to kill Turkey in this position? Italy isn't looking particularly likely to Lepanto right now. You kind of need Italy to Lepanto because Russia only has 1 fleet on the Black Sea and Turkey is in the Black Sea. So how are you going to break that? It just seems...
So the good news is once Turkey's down to 3 units, it actually will usually break itself because Turkey will need to keep Fleet Aegean to stop you from moving into the Aegean with your fleet. They need to keep a unit in Khan to stop you from walking into Khan. They need Fleet Black Sea to stop the Fleet Romania from moving into the Black Sea. And they need Army Armenia to stop Army Sev to Armenia. And one of those units has to go. So if Italy is removed off of the board, Turkey is going to get broken relatively quickly.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess the best defense you can do there is probably disbanding one of the 2 armies and then convoying the other one into the other center you need to defend. Because
yes,
then if it bounces,
I think that is the most likely way. It gives you guesses forever. It's just, look, if you guess wrong and they walk into either of them, you're cooked. But yeah, it's not a guaranteed. If you read every move forever with 3 units against what they've got going on, you can hold forever because Turkey is dumb.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's enough for the spring, eh?
Yeah, that seems to cover basically everything of what happened here. Let's move ahead to the fall of 1902. Right.
Oh, Russia.
Okay, you know how I said that it didn't look like Italy was gonna get a 5th center anytime soon? I guess I need to take that back.
Yeah, well, remember when I talked about being Austria moving against Germany being bad for you because everyone sees you're the biggest player on the board and they'll attack you?
Yeah.
This time it happened a little faster than I was expecting, but...
That was super quick. I don't know that this was a good idea for the Russian. Like, they could have gone up a supply center guaranteed from Berlin, taken down... Like,
yeah, but instead they got that supply center from Sweden.
They did. This is true. And I guess they can build in St. Pete and then attack Norway as well. So
they got the Turkish army out of Armenia?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this is lovely. I love this play from Russia.
Do you think they have much in terms of expansion here? I can see Norway as a potential route of expansion, but you've still got a fleet stuck in Romania. If you're working with Turkey, you're not going to get anything else of Austria anytime soon.
I think that they can actually do a pretty efficient rerouting of units. If I'm there, I'm going to try to ask Turkey to just do a convoy swap.
Oh, yeah, that's an interesting proposition. Of course, it does require you to not get tapped on Romania. Which...
yeah, I mean, assuming Turkey doesn't want to waste Bulgaria supporting you in, which seems pretty likely. But Austria has only Serbia on Romania at this point, right? They're going to, because they lost Greece, but they didn't disband it.
Oh,
right?
So they don't get any builds here, yeah.
So they don't get another build. So Austria, Serbia can tap Romania. That's definitely a move that can happen, but I don't think that's super likely. And I expect to see an army in Warsaw just shuffling down to Galicia, but I think St. Pete is totally fine as well. I think Russia's really, really happy about not being in a position where Austria is going +2 again, being on 7 units, and having all the control with an Italian sitting back and doing nothing. So I think, and again, I think this is looking like a really nice juggernaut now, right? It's like a little later than you'd like it to be, but
it does work.
Germany's +1. And they said Germany's +1 still.
Wow. I mean, I don't like that Germany went into Edinburgh with the fleet. I feel like you could have convoyed something there. But that's seeing the results of the phase, obviously. I guess if
Yeah, and like, so if they tried to go for the convoy, then they would have ended up being dislodged.
Yeah.
And so they would have retreated into Edinburgh, so it would have had the same result either way.
This is true. So, yeah, can't really fault them for that, I suppose. And if a convoy succeeds as well, then it's taking one army away from the homeland when you're potentially losing Berlin and Munich, which is maybe. I mean,
that said, I'm gonna go for that convoy every time. Like, if I'm holding with Belgium, you can't convince me to keep the army in Belgium. Is it correct? I have no idea, but my heuristic says I move the convoy. I'm gonna convoy the unit instead of just holding it, but I think this is, I think Germany is of course sad from the previous turn, but after how this turn went off, I think Germany is just over the moon alive.
Yes.
And not be dead.
Yep. And how are you feeling about Italy's position now? Because Italy left Venice open, so they have the option of building against Austria. They also have the option of building in the south, saying, hey, Austria, you know I took Greece, but we're potentially facing a juggernaut here. Let's just keep going and try and kill Turkey anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fleet in Greece. Who cares whose fleet it is in Greece? It's completely irrelevant. Yep.
The problem is that it didn't disband. If you want to work with Italy here, I feel like you take that fleet off and you rebuild us at home. Right.
I think that would be a better way to work with Italy, but oh well.
Even if you're working with anyone else, how much use is that fleet going to be? It's just a punishing
you want to attack Italy, it's pretty important.
Yeah. If you want to go into Adriatic, it's great. That's fair. Yep. But like, if you go into Adriatic here, I feel like you just die.
I mean, this Austria and I don't play the same way as Austria, right? I said as Austria, I don't attack Germany in that situation. This Austria doesn't agree. So it's possible this Austria wants to go after Italy now. I don't know. Italy just stabbed him, man.
Yep. Yeah, I can see it from a punishment perspective. I just feel like if you're acting like completely coolly and logically, you take the fleet off regardless and say to Italy, hey, you know, we can't really take much off each other anyway because your thing in Greece is a fleet. Let's just work together from here and I'll stay inland and you push around with your fleets.
Yeah, I think that's totally reasonable. I think that's a pitch that could work a lot of the time. But, shall we go to builds?
Yeah, let's find out what these players end up building. Italy builds a fleet. After all that, Fleet Naples. You know how I was saying Germany wouldn't get the opportunity to build a fleet, maybe? Well, they have found said opportunity, although I can't imagine Russia is incredibly happy with them building in Berlin.
I mean, where else would they build a fleet?
Yeah, and I guess Russia doesn't want to see army come down, so maybe they can just pitch it like that, but you have to be a little nervous about this. You see
Germany wave a build, get completely attacked in the spring, and in the fall still get to use their wave build. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's just incredible. Massive props to the German for this. But yeah. And I assume they're gonna be promising Russia that fleet will go to Kiel and then out through Heligoland Bight. But where it actually goes, especially considering the Russian didn't build in St. Petersburg, so Scandinavia is gonna be pretty easy to grab for the German. I could see that going up to Baltic and just going for Sweden anyway.
Yeah, yeah, I can totally see that too. But I can also see Sweden just trying to take Norway. I don't know what Russia is supposed to do here.
I would have definitely built in St. Pete, I think, because like you have a guaranteed center. Okay, it wasn't 100% guaranteed until England blew up Skagerrak, but you have a guaranteed center from Norway. You can just take that and then endlessly support hold yourself and use the build to put an army down in Warsaw a little later. Sure, it does stall you out against Austria a little, but you can always just move Silesia to Galicia instead of Warsaw to Galicia. And at least not lose any ground, right? Yeah. I would focus more north here than Russia is, but hey,
Yeah,
it
and
could
I
work
think
out.
even considering how weak England is, you could make a pretty convincing argument that long term Russia wants to build a fleet St. Pete North Coast so they can have two fleets in the north, and maybe they end up in Norwegian Sea. They work together with France and they can carve up so that Russia gets Edinburgh longer term. But I
Yeah,
think this Warsaw is a way to just say, hey, Austria's weak right now and overextended. I just made an alliance about attacking Austria. Let's stick to the plan.
I
Um,
I just don't think the army Warsaw gets you as much.
much,
And
yeah.
yeah,
I completely agree, right? I think, I mean, okay, counterpoint. What if Moscow moves to St. Pete in the spring?
yeah, that could work. I suppose I was viewing Moscow as moving to Ukraine every time.
Exactly. But with this army in Warsaw, I think now you can move Warsaw to Galicia and Moscow to St. Pete. And so you return later to taking Norway, but you still take it in this year. And then you're in Galicia in the spring.
I think, yeah, that definitely works. It's super important to get Germany to bounce in Baltic, then maybe, or at least make
Yeah,
sure
I'd
that
ask for
Germany
that.
doesn't end up with Baltic plus
The
Denmark.
problem is that then Germany's gonna stab you and just walk into Sweden.
But then they end up with a Russian fleet in Baltic with only one German fleet and with a
Also, let's
Russian
army
army.
into
And
Galicia, so Baltic
yeah,
Sea is actually important. But
uh,
wait, but then both of them lie about it. Okay, the funniest thing, both of them agree to bounce in the Baltic Sea, right? So then, but they both of them decide they're gonna stab the other person. So Russia realizes they move Sweden to Norway and then Silesia to Berlin. And then Germany looks at it and says, "Ooh, I'm not going to move to Baltic." And then he moves Denmark to Sweden, and Berlin either holds or someplace else. Holding, of course, punishes the most. But it would be hilarious if they trade Sweden for Berlin and neither of them move to the Baltic Sea.
that would be that would be kind of hilarious. Yes. But I feel like that is quite unlikely to happen. Unfortunately. uh,
I agree.
so I did want
Um,
to actually call back to when you said Russia should just build a fleet north coast here potentially. This is maybe one of my oversights as Russia is that I basically never build fleets. I will always just continuously put down armies and then just bolster up the areas that you can bolster up with armies. Because I feel like if you have a fleet, it's always going to be worse on a well. It's obviously always worse on a flexibility standpoint, right? And it's only useful when you want to push out later on, which you only want to do if you're doing well anyway. So you'll be hopefully getting the builds that you could put down a fleet later, regardless.
yeah, I mean, for fleets, right? You have to think about where is each fleet going to go, and does that fleet have an important purpose? Because it's if you do have a place, right? Like I could, if I'm Russia, right? I would love to have a fleet in the Baltic Sea, right? In this situation, I would love to have a fleet in the Skagerrak, right? These are things that I really want to have fleets right now for a long-term fight against Germany. And taking Norway with the fleet's a reasonable way to get a fleet on the board. So
Yeah,
that's how I like it.
that is fair. I think I tend to lean too much towards passive play on that sort of thing, so I will always go army. But yeah, fleet could absolutely be reasonable here.
But I kind of like this build a little more than the fleet because you get into Galicia in the spring, and you can still take Norway in the fall. So I think it's pretty clean.
Well, I guess shall we move ahead and see what they end up doing?
Yeah.
Alright, spring 1903, you're absolutely correct. They went up to St. Petersburg, and oh my... Why, no! Bounce Germany out of Baltic.
Hey! They did it, though!
Oh no. Okay, yeah, so they went up to St. Petersburg, but they're not going to go plus the center because they left Sweden. And in order to prevent this, you would have had to bounce Germany out of Baltic. So it's debatable whether that was a possibility. Maybe if you tell Germany that you're going to Baltic, they do just fake you out and let you get in, and you end up losing Sweden anyway. But I feel like it's more important to at least negotiate these kind of bounces just to make it clear to Germany that if they want to do something sneaky like this, they're going to lose a little bit in response, right? They're going to end up with that Russian unit in Baltic being very annoying towards them.
Yep, instead of just taking Sweden for free.
Yeah. What I do find super interesting here is Germany went into Sweden, so they are going full out that way, but they also went down into Tyrolia as well. So what's the idea with that? Are they trying to prop up the Austrian against the Italian, maybe?
Or maybe help Russia against Austria. There are players out there who are really good at this. I'm going to annoy you, but you're going to keep working with me anyways. And yeah, you're annoying Russia by dotting him, but if you still have a lot of value to add, I mean, I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not convinced you could convince Russia to work with you after doing this. Although, I mean, maybe as Russia, do you ever agree to let Germany have Sweden here? I don't think so, right? I think you're too weak.
I'm Russia, absolutely not. I think I can actually hold that center for a very long time.
Yeah, the moment you get Norway there, it's really difficult to break you, so you just want to hold it long enough to do that, and then you're set.
Yeah.
So I doubt.
And I mean, look, if you want to go crazy, right? If you've taken Norway with a fleet, you can build a fleet in St. Pete South Coast, and suddenly you're going to have fleets just in all of the places, and Denmark's going to fall, and then Germany's cooked.
Yep. This is.
But I mean,
this is true. Yeah. But clearly, this Russian got a bit outplayed by Germany here.
Seems like it.
At least.
And like Germany got Russia to leave Silesia as well, while dotting them.
Yes.
Right? That's just, yeah.
As Russia, I don't think I leave Silesia, even if Germany wants me to, right here.
There's no way.
Yeah. Because it's so easy to justify Silesia support Warsaw to Galicia. I feel like it's almost the automatic move you want to do here.
Helps me get into Bohemia next turn, yep.
Of course, the flip side to that is it looks like Russia and Austria made an agreement in that Russia ends up supporting Austria into Bulgaria, so maybe they don't want to force Bohemia on the next turn. But
I mean, what are you doing in Galicia?
What's even their plan? Yeah, if they were going to do this, then surely you build in St. Petersburg and secure Norway, because that's the only build that you're likely to get in the future.
Yeah, I think Russia just got out talked here by Germany. I think Germany did a phenomenal job convincing Russia to make mistakes and benefited from it.
Yep.
Also in the West, we see that France has successfully convoyed up to Wales.
Yes.
Which is terrifying for England.
It is.
Who now appears to be truly cooked.
England played a quite greedy turn here, I think, with Yorkshire to Liverpool. Like, Yorkshire to Liverpool is, I'm going to secure Edinburgh. Yorkshire to Wales is, you could quite easily just do London to Wales, Yorkshire to Wales here, and you're safe against everything, right? and then you support yourself into Edinburgh in the fall turn. I don't know why you need to go to Liverpool.
If it was an army in Edinburgh, you would.
Yeah, maybe they thought that unit was an army. I mean, no, they would not, but yeah, I don't get it. I don't get this Liverpool move.
Same. All right, but also we see Italy in the south is going hard against Austria. Fleet in the Adriatic, not I think as hard as theoretically possible, but actually, if you know Germany's ending up in Tyrolia, this is the best. And so it looks likely that Trieste is going to fall.
Yeah, the best theoretically possible would be pushing Apulia up to Venice, I guess.
Well, I thought about that, but you can convoy Apulia into Trieste.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, since you know that that Germany is getting into Tyrolia, if that was up in the air, then I think moving Piedmont into Tyrolia and Apulia into Venice would have been better. But if you knew this was happening, then I think this is the way to do the most damage to Austria.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean they are probably going to do quite well out of it. I'm a little unsure that this is their best move. I feel like you're still not going to gain very much this way, and
yeah, I'm Italy here. I'm attacking Turkey.
Yeah, if you went into Eastern Mediterranean here, you would have been very happy, right?
Yeah, you have a guaranteed convoy to Syria if you want it.
It's beautiful.
And Austria's under too much pressure to ever actually stab you. I mean, you're ecstatic if you make Q attack to Turkey, but that didn't happen, so.
Yeah, and also I suppose we are looking at Fleet Albania potentially going to Adriatic. If that had happened, then there would have been trouble.
I mean, a little bit, but you still have two armies, right? Piedmont and Apulia are still around.
Yeah, so
right?
Actually Austria needs like 3 units on Venice to ever take it.
Yep, so I think, like I said, I would have been far more anti-Turkey for the entire game, because when I play Italy, I like to kill Turkey, so that's just whatever.
Yes. I did want to mention in the north, I think I figured out what the move to Liverpool was about. If Edinburgh goes to Clyde here, then it gives you, well, it guarantees that you take Edinburgh regardless, right? Whereas Edinburgh to Clyde otherwise makes it a guessing game. Unless you send North Sea into Edinburgh, which is this turn, which is dangerous because you can end up with a French fleet in the North Sea. So I guess that's the reason, but I still think this was the wrong thing to do. I think you should always try and defend in this phase and then try and take Edinburgh back in the fall. But yeah, so shall we move ahead to the next turn?
Let's do it.
Okay, fall 1903. Oh, and Turkey is repositioning to attack Russia, I guess? Oh, wait, Russia supports Germany into Vienna. What? Just, what? So I guess the trade on Sweden was agreed? I don't know. I'm like, why? Why would you do that?
Yeah, why indeed?
This just feels so bad. Like, okay, so this does make me think that Sweden was agreed. And I don't think that was a good deal to agree to, like, ever. If it wasn't agreed, and you're doing this as a sort of concession to Germany to say, hey, I'm gonna be your vassal, don't attack me in Norway, I don't think you need to do that. I think you can just keep attacking Austria in the south by yourself and you're kind of fine. Yeah, maybe not, because you did just stab Turkey the previous phase by trying to support Serbia into Bulgaria. It's tough. But I don't think that allying Germany again here wasn't a good idea.
I mean, Germany just went plus 2. Oh, but then Germany gave Belgium over to France.
Yeah, so it's +1. And Germany is moving very strongly east, which, like, where are they gonna go then? Yeah, I don't like this. I think as Russia, I would not support Tyrolia to Vienna, even if it's just a matter of principle. I'm just saying, after you stabbed me in Sweden, I'm not going to give Vienna over to you. But yeah. And then you end up with Italy and Trieste. So maybe Russia's best path here is just talking to Italy and saying, hey, you know, Turkey just convoyed into Armenia against me. They're clearly about to attack me, so I'm down to just work with you however you want to. Let's carve up Austria together. Let's kick the German back out. And you go into Lepanto mode.
Yeah. That's a pitch. Yeah, I mean, like, Russia is clearly at war with Turkey right now, again.
Yes.
But has managed to avoid an all-out attack from Germany. Right? There is no German army in Silesia right now. Right? I mean, it could have gone there. Baltic Sea is moving to Denmark instead of to the Gulf of Bothnia, which is more aggressive. Like, but Norway's at risk. Yeah, I don't know what Russia has accomplished here, really, except eliminating Austria, who was on his side like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, even like half a year ago, he was supporting Austria into Bulgaria. I don't know.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here with Russia. I don't see his long term. Germany's just sitting here saying, "Hey, France, we can stay friends. We're gonna kill England, and then we're gonna figure out how to not go at war immediately afterwards."
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's a reasonable pitch.
Yeah, it seems fair to me. I guess the Russian hope is just maybe power up Germany to the point that they can fight France and say, hey, go after France, I'm too weak to be a threat to you. But I feel like as Germany is just as appetizing to just say, hey, you're so weak, you're not a threat to me, let's just eat your centers.
So there is one counter to that. There's one counterpoint. So, once England is dead, France will have no enemies, and therefore nothing to do with their units. And so, in that case, France is incredibly likely to attack Germany. Russia, by comparison, has an enemy to the south, in that Turkey is currently attacking Russia. So if you were to expose yourself to one of those two, Russia is less likely to attack you than France is, by my read.
Yeah. Okay, that makes some sense.
Russia could be trying to position themselves into that situation where they say, hey, Germany, France is more of a threat than I am. Deal with them, not me. I'm weak. I'm smaller than you. I've helped you the whole game, and I'm under pressure from Turkey. Leave me alone. And I think Germany could buy that.
Yeah, but then of course Russia is very sad to see this exchange of Belgium. Because their whole thing would be relying on that ideally not happening.
Yes, on France and Germany being at odds with each other.
Yeah, and I suspect Russia doesn't like the move into Bohemia either, because if you want to power up Germany to go after France, you want them just to have the units in Vienna. You're just saying, okay, I'll help you keep that unit in Vienna. Please don't dedicate anything else to the defense of it, because then suddenly it's just taking away from your ability to attack France. Yeah. So interesting. It could be a viable strategy, I suppose. I feel like I just have a fundamental problem with I would be probably so annoyed about Sweden that I wouldn't consider doing this in the first place. But maybe that's a downside to my own
Yeah,
game.
it does feel annoying when someone is already bigger than you and they're getting a build and you're not.
And they're getting a build from you, no less.
Yes.
But yeah.
But I mean, if you can deal with that, you can make alliances that I wouldn't be able to.
Yep.
Like this one. So you see builds?
Yeah, I think there's nothing much else to talk about here. I guess the North Sea getting into English Channel is an interesting thing, but the fact that France ends up getting that build from Belgium is actually quite big here, because it means they can build Fleet Brest and completely destroy that fleet's ability to do anything. So yeah, let's go ahead to winter 1903. And we do see Fleet English Channel come off the board, I guess, because that Fleet Brest was about to be built. So suddenly it's much less useful. And Army Munich, Army Naples. Army Naples is an interesting one. I guess they're trying to convoy it over to Albania, and then just push into Austrian lands even more. So Austria is very sad right now.
Yep. Austria, I mean, down to 2 centers, only 1 home. Austria's pretty bad anyways.
Yep.
Turkey shows no danger of getting an extra build. So as Italy, you have time to take Serbia yourself and then go and kill Turkey at your leisure.
Yep. Pretty solid. Do we want to do power rankings here? Once every 2 years. They have changed a fair bit since last time, I think.
Yeah, things have changed a bit. Yeah, I mean, we can do power rankings here.
Okay, so I assume Germany is still top dog here, right?
Yeah, I mean, biggest on the board by 2, no enemies, like, it's not to like.
Pretty solid. Even if Vienna is not all that defensible of a center, it's still giving a unit right now, which is fine. And even without it, they're still ahead of the entire board, so...
Yeah, and Bohemia is there to help defend, so it's not even like it's just gone.
Yep. So Germany at the top, I guess. Second might be Italy here? It's either Italy or France, right?
Completely agree.
Do you think it's Italy or France?
I mean, I think France is taking Liverpool, putting France at 7, and then France is France. The argument for Italy, in my opinion, is that Turkey exists, and I think that Turkey is likely to be Italy's next point of growth, whereas France is going to likely be in a pretty big war against Germany. Now, if Italy goes after Turkey, the way that I've been looking for, that fleet mid-Atlantic Ocean can wind up in Western Med really easily. So... it's just, I think they're both very close. I don't know where I would put either one of them.
Right. I guess I'll put France above Italy based on the France factor.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that is the problem, right? Because France now, they don't need all 3 fleets against England, so they are always going to have that fleet in mid-Atlantic Ocean, and it's always going to be a deterrent for going all in against Turkey, which Italy really needs to do to expand.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance that, like, once England dies, France goes pretty hard against Germany.
Yeah.
And if that happens, then suddenly that fleet can leave mid-Atlantic Ocean. But until England is dead, it's pretty scary.
Yep. So... We'll have France over Italy there, but I think it's relatively close either way. 4th place? It's Russia or Turkey, but...
I mean, I'm taking Russia absolutely over Turkey there.
Yeah. I don't know, like... The problem with Russia, I feel, is just... No, okay. The fact that Russia got Germany on side here is actually pretty huge. If Germany and France stay in an alliance and Germany goes after Russia, I think Russia's in serious trouble, but that seems unlikely because just the fact that France and Germany are so strong and are going to be direct competitors for the board top is just a massive incentive for them not to work together beyond killing England, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So Germany is going to have problems finding the opportunity to go after Russia. So I think you're right. Yeah, Russia goes above Turkey. Although Turkey is always Turkey. If Italy doesn't find a time to take them out of that corner, they could get their opportunity and get back into the game.
Yeah, because they are still Turkey, it is absurd.
Yeah.
But,
which
whatever.
Is more than can be said for Austria or England here, I think.
Yeah, also they're just like, they both lost their home centers and they're dying. So, I mean, between the two of them, whatever. Let's put England above Austria.
I think England takes a little longer to kill, so...
Yeah, I think England's going to survive the turn, whereas Austria I don't think will, so...
Okay, so these are our power rankings for 1903. Let's move ahead to spring of 1904. Okay.
Okay, so here we are. And Italy supports Turkey into Serbia. I love it.
That's actually super interesting. So they're giving Turkey the build, but they're also opening Turkey up, right?
They're not giving Turkey the build.
Do you think they're just going to take it straight back?
They're just going to take Serbia. They just didn't want to have to worry about an attack on Greece.
Yeah, that's very fair. And Turkey can't attack Greece now because if they go for it, well, they're getting cut on both Serbia and Aegean next turn, presumably, right?
Seems pretty likely. Yep.
Yeah, and even if they did want to go 2 for Greece, then they have to cover Bulgaria with Black Sea or Armenia, which is kind of... Well, it's not impossible to do, but it's like... That's... It feels better for them just to trust Italy and hope. As unlikely as that is to work. I don't know, if Italy does stay aligned with Turkey here, which I think has a probability of very, very low, then Turkey could be in a decent spot.
Oh yeah, but there's just no way. That's just not happening.
Yeah, it just feels like they've pulled that unit completely out of position.
Yep. Nicely done. Good negotiations.
Excellent.
So, as we see from Germany, Germany is positioned with 2 on Warsaw. Also took the North Sea and has 2 on Norway. Russia can defend Warsaw with strength 2, at risk of losing something in the south, depending on cuts and yada yada. But Norway looks cooked. Russia's just not happy anymore. And England is dying, and so France and Germany do not appear to be attacking each other immediately.
Yeah. It is a guess on whether England dies right now or not, because England can enter Wales, support hold London, and then France has to guess whether they're doing that or not with cutting Wales or just supporting themselves into Liverpool. But England is very, very dead within 2 years. There is no way they survive that.
Yep. So, if you're Russia, you need to see France and Germany fighting each other now, but it looks like they waited a little bit too long, and so Germany's made the move on Russia, and Russia just has to survive until France decides France must attack Germany to get the board time.
Yeah. Do you think this is the right decision from Germany, moving full out against Russia here?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think this is full out against Russia. I really do like this move. I think this is enough against Russia to annoy him and potentially get Turkey back in the game. Like, you're trying to get a board top, you need to have there be enough chaos that the board can't unify against you. And if Turkey's eliminated and England is eliminated, then suddenly Italy, France, and Russia all border you and can communicate and say, hey, we're just going to have to start eating things off of Germany.
That makes sense. So you think this is more of a thing to keep Turkey alive than to actively gain on Germany's part? I mean, it does actively gain a little bit. It gets Norway. It threatens Warsaw, but really it's trading Vienna for Norway, which is a pretty decent trade because you can't defend Vienna and you can defend Norway. So,
Yep. I think it's totally fun.
Yeah, I feel like as France, I'd probably want to make the jump pretty soon against Germany. Is that
France moving mid-Atlantic north, right? That's a big deal.
Yes. It takes away their ability to go after Italy, so they are saying, okay, I'm going after Germany. Well, I'm going all out on killing England right now, but I'm getting ready to go all out against Germany here.
Yes, much better positioned against Germany afterwards like this.
Yeah.
Shall we go to fall?
Yep. Let's go ahead to the fall then. See if that Italian unit takes Serbia. Yep. I mean, hey, that's expected. Aegean covering Bulgaria. Oof. I do not like that move.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you don't really want to cover Bulgaria with Serbia, right? Because if you're trusting Italy, you're saying, okay, I'm only getting a good result of this phase if Italy is telling me the truth, so I might as well trust Italy. But if you're already trusting Italy, then
it's whatever. It's fine. I mean, we saw this coming a mile away.
Yes. But the fact that Aegean ends up in Bulgaria instead of being able to retreat to Konosma is horrible for the Turk.
Oh, truly terrible, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But whatever. Turkey wasn't going to survive anyway, so okay.
Yep. Sorry, go ahead. Wait,
England gave up, so England is dead. Made no attempt to defend themselves.
Yeah, they just issued random orders. Okay, that makes sense.
And so now we get to see what is France going to do. Because we see here this Holland to Belgium looks a little bit dirty, right? Just a little bit.
Yeah.
France still gets a build, but France also tapped Munich. A little bit. Is there something there? I don't know. Germany took Norway, and then Germany got Budapest.
Yes. With Austrian support. That's really amusing. They could have taken Warsaw, but obviously Warsaw wasn't guaranteed. Budapest kind of was, if you know that the Italian is going for Serbia. So
yeah, and if the Austrian is going to support you, which I guess GHG got to happen. So
yep, it's super interesting, right? Because this is the kind of thing you don't really think is a good move for Germany ever. Sticking random units in Budapest, like that center is still very temporary. But it does get rid of some of the Russian influence, which is...
Yeah, so what's nice about this one is it's technically temporary, but there's enough just chaos around it. It's unclear how it's going to get taken away.
Yep. And it's just also, like, the fact that Italy is super strong down here, you suddenly have a say in what's happening, right? If that is a Russian unit in Budapest, maybe Russia works with Italy, saying, hey, that's my option here because Turkey is attacking me. If you've taken that Russian unit off the board, you're sitting in Budapest. Even if it's just one temporary unit there, you can still slow the Italian down. Which is always a great thing on a top board. You want to slow down your strongest opposition. So, yeah, I actually really like this, despite it being something that I personally would probably never do. Sending random units down into Austria as Germany when I'm about to have a war with France.
And this does seem like it's just going to be all-out war with France, one that I think France is poised to win.
Yeah, of course, losing Belgium... I really, really don't like the convoy across to London here. I feel like pulling English Channel into London is just straight up better. I know we say that putting armies on the English continent is, well, on the English island is a good way to take it, right? But there's only so many armies you need, especially when your opponent is dying.
Yeah, the second army to finish off England seems like a complete waste, yes.
Yes. And worse than that, you have to convoy it back again. So,
But worse than that, you want a fleet in London in addition to a fleet in the English Channel, because then you can have more pressure on the North Sea, whereas now you're going to have to convoy it out of Belgium, then get a fleet into London, then get into the English Channel.
yeah, exactly. So, everything else aside, like, even the Holland into Belgium thing aside, this is pretty bad. I think they should have just stayed in Belgium. With Holland to Belgium added, it makes it horrendously bad.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
completely agree.
Yep. That's kind of all to say on that. The fact that there's not an extra build for them, and Germany goes plus an extra one, that could be huge in this war.
Yeah, I mean, Germany's what, +2 this turn, right?
Yeah. Actually, considering builds here, I'm not 100% sure, but Russia just went -1 on Norway, right? And they blew up Budapest, so that's their -1 taken care of. Why would you retreat the fleet into St. Petersburg North Coast instead of rebuilding something? That seems bad.
Yeah, yeah. I would probably rather turn that into an army at this point.
I would absolutely want to turn that into an army. I think the only reason you keep a fleet on the North Coast is just to annoy Germany. Which, okay, it is definitely fair for Russia to want to annoy Germany now.
Yeah, but I would just keep the army in St. Petersburg, and that's even more annoying because the army's going to stick around and retreat to Finland.
Yes. Yeah, precisely, because the only thing that St. Petersburg North Coast can attack is Norway, and Germany owns Sweden as well, so you might as well put an army down and just annoy Germany that way. Right, well, shall we move ahead to the winter?
Let's see the builds.
Alright.
Alright, Army Marseille, fine. Army Venice, fine. Going after the Balkans. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we see Fleet Smyrna. I guess that's just a... I mean, I'd almost be tempted to put another army down into Turkey just because that's better defensively, I think. But... yeah. At this point, Turkey's kind of cooked anyway.
I mean, cooked in the long run, but I don't... Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Turkey is alive at 1910, even from here.
How do you think they end up being still alive from this position?
Just... Sevastopol doesn't attack Armenia. Armenia moves down to Syria. Black Sea moves to Constantinople.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Suddenly, Smyrna supports Constantinople, Syria supports Smyrna, and Turkey never dies ever.
Yep. That's fair. Although you end up with two on Constantinople anyway, right? So Turkey can end up cutting Smyrna and then just take Constantinople. Sorry, Italy can.
That looks like a thing.
But yeah, it ends up being a bit of a guessing game for a while anyway.
Yeah, you have to position it differently to make it the actual guessing game. If we get that setup that I just threw up, then you're going to lose it guaranteed. So,
but if you keep the fleet in Black Sea, then it ends up being fine. Well, fine. Yes. It ends up being a guessing game.
Yep, for your life. But again, that also requires Russia to not attack Turkey. And for what it's worth, it looks like Russia has other issues to deal with. So I think Russia would be pretty happy to leave Turkey alone now.
Yep.
Man, if only they could have left each other alone forever.
Yep.
Alright, should we go to the spring?
Yeah, let's move ahead to spring of 1905 here, getting towards the halfway point of the game. That's Albania moved to Greece convoyed by Ionian and Aegean.
Yes, supported by Greece, that's lovely.
That's super interesting. I don't know that it was necessary. It did enable this thing of Serbia's support, Sevastopol to Romania. Man, what even happened here? Why do you send Romania to Black Sea? What's the purpose of that? That's just to make sure that Italy can take Bulgaria. but Italy can take
Yeah.
Bulgaria anyway?
If Black Sea support held Bulgaria, wait, then Serbia could have Serbia could have supported this convoy in.
I guess it's in case you think that Budapest is tapping Serbia. I also think that Italy maybe made a mistake in not supporting Vienna down to Budapest and just going up to Tyrolia here. This is assuming
that looks like an opportunity missed, yeah.
Assuming they knew that Vienna was going to Budapest. Maybe they didn't.
Given the relationships between Austria and what happened, I would not be surprised if that wasn't made clear. But then why is Austria attacking Budapest, right? That it seems likely that he said, hey, I'm attacking Budapest, give me a support, please. I don't know. I'll have to see the press.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's an interesting moveset down there, and the result is that Italy ends up advancing from Albania to Bulgaria, which is a good thing for them. They are going to want
4 units to do it, but whatever.
They are going to want to push a unit into Eastern Mediterranean still, obviously. Otherwise, they kind of end up locked here.
Yep.
But it's still a centre. Centre good.
That's that.
And meanwhile, in the north, Germany pulls away from France completely. Which is...
And France does not.
Yeah, that's certainly an interesting way of starting a war. You've got... I mean, France went to Wales with Irish Sea. They could have gone to North Atlantic Ocean. I feel like they should have gone to North Atlantic Ocean. No, actually, they shouldn't, because they're trying to get the extra fleet to London to pressure North Sea, right? So that makes sense. They want to go to Wales with it. They did take a bit of a risk of the German fleet ending up in North Atlantic Ocean here. But it's not a massive risk.
You still cover mid-Atlantic. It's a risk. It was a risk, not a huge risk. And, well, Germany's set up to take St. Pete now.
Yeah. This is a really, really interesting moveset from Germany, and one I think is bad. I mean, also, just keeping Berlin in Berlin is so much tempo lost in this potential French-German war. It's not as much of a tempo.
I think Germany misread France here.
Yeah.
This just screams to me that Germany thought that France was pushing south. It screams that to me.
I don't know that there's any reasonable reason why France would do that here. I feel like France always, like 100% of the time, goes against Germany in this position.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but I can see the moves also.
Yes. We do have the benefits of hindsight, that's important to say. And Germany is going to pick up St. Petersburg, so they are going to go, well, -1 because they're losing Edinburgh.
And Belgium.
And Belgium. Which is not an ideal trade.
Maybe Budapest.
I wonder if their thought was they're going to have to deal with this St. Petersburg fleet tapping Norway forever if they don't do this here and now.
I guess, but maybe. I mean, maybe, but then why not? Why are they doing this move to Barents and Finland? Why not just leave Norway and Norway?
Yeah, I agree. I think that would have been better. It's interesting decision making there. I guess we'll see how it pays off or doesn't pay off.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough. Like, Germany's gonna lose a lot to France, and it's gonna have to stall off against France. Like, in Germany's only hope is that Turkey and Russia appear to still be fighting each other, which is a miracle. Because if Russia and Turkey were friends and could work together and defend themselves, neither one of them would die for a very long time.
Yeah.
Instead, they're wasting units and letting their enemies get position on them. So, yikes.
Yep. I mean, so I did say that Germany would be going -1. I think actually I misspoke there because I didn't notice the German units saying English here. Germany is going to gain Warsaw as well. They could actually push the army into St. Petersburg, push the army into Warsaw, and guarantee Moss on the next turn. Well, not guarantee Moss, but push into Moss. Maybe they're making a play like those three are essential for me winning here. I can afford to give up some stuff to France in return, but I think that's just wrong.
Terrifying.
Yeah. It's like France is just gonna be impossible to dislodge from that corner, and anything they gain is probably a permanent gain for them. So giving up so much on that front just feels like a mistake, even if you're gaining on the other side. Well, I guess we'll see how it works out for them. Shall we move ahead to the fall?
Let's see it.
Alright, fall 1905.
Did Italy support Germany into Vienna?
Italy did support Germany into Vienna. What?
Okay.
Okay, I mean, it decreases the number of armies in Austria by 1, which is huge for Italy, right? They can just...
And you want to prop up Germany against France, right? You don't want Germany to be down too much?
Yes. Actually, I
So
can see this.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, Germany's getting a build here, so Germany can build a fleet in Vienna and actually get ready to fight.
Yeah, I think supporting Budapest into Vienna is actually super useful for the Italian, because even if you're propping up, like, regardless of whether you want to prop up Germany or not, that is one less army on the Austrian front. You can very, very easily just take Vienna and Budapest now, whenever you want to, which puts you on a massive amount of centers, right?
Yeah, I mean, with Bulgaria, that's yours. You're up to 10.
Oh, jeez, but
with Romania, that's 11.
They cut Romania. Why did they cut Romania? I mean, it wouldn't have changed anyway, but Turkey gets a build now.
I mean, yeah, Turkey doesn't disband here.
Yeah, sorry, they don't disband.
I don't get why they didn't take Eastern Med.
It's a good question. Maybe they just don't want to be fully alienated from the eastern side of the board, but I feel like they're pretty set in having...
I think this was a stab on Russia. I feel like this was them trying to take Romania and backfill Bulgaria. And their bet was that they leaked Russia's tactics to Turkey and told Turkey, hey, just take Sevastopol from the Black Sea. We're betting on Turkey being too scared and either having Constantinople tap Bulgaria or Constantinople just hold. And then they would end up in Bulgaria, split up to take Aegean, and then they would be in Romania as well, ready to capitalize on this Budapest thing. That's what I think this was.
That would make a lot of sense, and that would be a pretty solid position. Although I still think, even if you're doing that, you probably want to backfill Aegean as well.
Yeah.
Like, not killing Turkey will lose Italy this game in the long run if they continue to not do it. Right? I think that's the only thing they could lose Italy.
There's too many centers that you're wasting that are going to be tapping your units, tying you down.
Yeah.
Here I completely agree with you. I would have absolutely taken Eastern Med. Turkey would be set up to be cooked. It would be great.
Yeah. Well, it obviously didn't go that way. It's looking a fair bit better for Germany, despite losing Edinburgh and Belgium. They still go +1, and they ended up with a unit in Ukraine as well, so they have Moscow completely guaranteed.
The fundamentals of Germany is at war with France, and France has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units on the line in almost perfect position, right? Going to take the North Sea next turn, etc. Whereas Germany's units are stuck in the east. It's tough because Holland is certainly going to fall. Once Holland goes, Helgoland bite. Who knows what's going to happen to Skagerrak to Norwegian Sea? This is just... It's unclear to me if Germany can hold any of their centers against France here. What's their stamina line going to look like?
Yeah, I mean, they end up with... They can maybe make a stalemate along Munich, Kiel, Denmark, Skagerrak, Norway, Barents? Is that even a stalemate? I don't think that is a stalemate, actually. Especially not with this few fleets.
Yeah, you need to have a fleet in Skagerrak as well for something like this to work, right? Like Barents, Norway, Skagerrak, Denmark, Baltic, Kiel, Munich.
And even holding that, they have what? Account 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 with that line. And I don't think 9 wins it, especially considering France is on 10 with Holland, Belgium, Edinburgh.
Yeah.
So that line doesn't get you it. Obviously, if Germany can hold on to Vienna or Budapest, then they have a shot, but they're not holding on to Vienna
that's impossible.
Budapest. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't like this. And also, we see the the Russian basically saying, okay, well, if you're going to continually do this to me, I'm just going to mess you up in the small ways that I can mess you up with St. Petersburg holding. And suddenly Germany's out of North Sea again. Which just gives France even more of an advantage here, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, not looking great for Germany. They are going to guarantee Moscow, Warsaw, St. Petersburg. So that is a plus, but it feels very much like a second place kind of position. So... yeah.
I mean, we'll see, right? They have made their position safer, and Russia is dead.
Yep. This is true.
Alright, let's see the builds?
Yeah, let's go ahead to winter, and this is also a power ranking turn, the way we're doing it here. Army Berlin. What? Is Germany just
Maybe they are going to hold the Balkans.
I do not understand this. I feel like you need another fleet here just to contest with France at all. And even if you're building an army Kiel is just better for fighting France. It's not a particularly huge difference, but it's like...
it's a difference, yeah. No, I mean, I don't really get it.
Yeah, really interesting build there. And France goes double fleet, which, I mean, as France, if you've locked down your corner, you can go as many fleets as you like, right? That's just...
Yep.
Yeah. And then Italy goes Army Venice, which I think is fine.
Yep, looks good to me.
Yeah.
All right, shall we go to spring?
Power rankings first.
So France is number 1.
Wait, we are saying goodbye first to both England and Austria, right? They both go off in the same turn. So they are gone. There are 5 people left. I think it's fair to say Russia is right at the bottom.
Yep.
Followed by Turkey. And then the real contenders are the top 3, Germany, France, and Italy. What order would you put them in?
So I think France is number 1.
I think maybe it's contested with Italy, but certainly Germany would be in 3rd in my book. Why would you put France above Italy here?
Taking centers from Turkey is really difficult.
Yeah.
I think that I see a path to like 14 for France. And I think it's difficult for Italy to get to 14.
I feel like it's quite difficult for France to get to 14 as well, just because you have to fight through Germany to do it. But if Germany is going to be doing things like building Army Berlin, then maybe it's possible. It's...
So, if we assume that Italy attacks Germany, and Germany ever loses Vienna, Budapest, then Germany still has to keep units in the east to hold Ukraine and Moscow, right?
Yeah.
So Germany really can't commit that many troops to the west. Germany only has 3 fleets, and France has 4 in the north, and that's a significant advantage. The North Sea is guaranteed for France this turn. Skagerrak seems likely to go next. I think this war is going to go very smoothly for France. And there are just a lot of centers there. Italy does have a thing. Look, Italy's in a good position, right?
Yeah, they're both in very good positions. It's...
But right, Italy. So if we give Italy Vienna, Budapest, and Romania, right? Which is, I think, very reasonable. That's not enough.
So that ends up being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, right?
Yeah.
That's without taking any of Turkey. It's, so that would match if France manages to take one of Kiel, Munich, Denmark, or Norway, then they're even on that. Turkey was after France in the power selection, so Turkey. Italy was after France in the power selection, so Italy would win a tiebreak on that front.
So in 5 years, France is going to take like Norway, Denmark, Holland.
Yeah, but I feel like Italy is going to take the Turkish dots as well. It might be a question of who manages to, like, disrupt the opponent at the same time, in which case I feel like France does have the advantage on that, because they have that fleet in Marseille.
Yep.
So yeah, I could see France in first. I guess we'll go with that.
France has the France factor.
Yep. I feel like that's just the tiebreak we can always use, right? If there's ever a question of is France ahead of someone or not, the answer is yes, France is ahead of them because France is France.
I'm on the same page.
Alright, well, so there we have it. France in first, Italy second, Germany third here, Turkey fourth, and Russia in that fifth spot. Russia obviously basically completely out of this, especially with Galicia taken off. Keeping Fleet Romania is interesting. Let's go ahead to spring 1906.
Sounds good.
Okay, so so Germany has turned around to fight France here. That's good to see. France could have put English Channel in North Sea and then moved their fleet up to English Channel to gain a fleet advantage there. They did not. They go to Mid-Atlantic Ocean and they go to Gulf of Leon. So they're aiming to disrupt Italy more? Or they're getting ready for this potential Italian attack, which does look like it might actually happen now.
Also, Mid-Atlantic Ocean and North Atlantic Ocean is very reasonable. Gets you in the Norwegian Sea.
Yeah, that's true too. So it might.
I mean, Mid-Atlantic Ocean's a great spot for a fleet. I think it's very reasonable to make this line.
Yeah, I can't help but feel like Italy is making a mistake here with pulling back to Tunis.
And not killing Turkey, right?
Yep. It's like Tunis is a centre that France can potentially take. And of course, France, as the biggest opponent to Italy, is someone you don't want to give a centre to. That's a 2-centre swing on the whole thing on the whole. But like the Turkish centres are a 3-centre swing in your favour if you can take them. So it's better just to focus on them.
It's even more than a 3-center swing because it also frees up your units.
Yes. And those...
It's such a big deal.
If France takes Tunis, they're going to have to dedicate a pretty significant amount to defending it, which maybe they can't afford to do with Germany actually swinging around and attacking them, so...
Maybe. The thing about France is France always has the units for their crap.
Yeah.
France, and, like, everything is safe. But your point of it was still taxing for France is still very valid. But, like, if you look at the East, Italy is going to lose Romania.
Yeah, they are. This is true. Turkey has a good position there. This is...
Right? And that's just like, okay, now Turkey's out of the box and just at war with Italy for the entire game.
Yep, and Cilicia moving down to Galicia actually makes Italy's life tougher as well.
Yep.
Like, that's not a move I would recommend for the German here. I feel like disrupting Italy is not really high on your list of priorities when you're at war with the French.
Yeah, but look, you've already got an army in Kiel over in Munich. What else do you need, man?
Yeah. Well... I guess we'll see how it turns out for him. And he has managed to get France to not be in Burgundy right now, which is actually kind of important. It means Ruhr can't be tapped. Which solves the guess to some degree, right? Previously, if there is an army in Burgundy here, you can't enter Ruhr support Kiel to Holland to defend Holland, because Ruhr just gets tapped from Burgundy, and then you're a bit in a bit of a problematic situation there. So you have to enter Ruhr, goes to Holland with support from Kiel. But then obviously Burgundy can still go to Ruhr, can take Ruhr behind you if France doesn't go for Holland. So you have to backfill it from Munich, and then you have the guess of, well, will France just walk into Munich behind me? So having an empty Burgundy is actually pretty big for the German here. So yeah, I think France still has the edge in this war, don't get me wrong on that front. But it is looking a little bit better for the German than it was looking last turn. So, is there anything else you want to talk about here, or shall we move ahead?
Let's go.
Alright, fall 1906. Italy does not lose Romania, but they do lose Bulgaria. Huh.
It's a center either way.
Yeah,
something was going to happen.
Italy is pulling out completely from the Turkish front.
And I mean, it's like, unless Turkey says, "Hey, Italy, I want you to win this game," Italy's not going to win.
Yeah, I agree. You need to kill Turkey here. There's just like
past tense, too late.
Yeah, now that you're out of Aegean,
has come and gone.
I can definitely see the appeal of defending Tunis like this, but it's just, you were about to get a dozen builds, right? At one point, the loss of Tunis doesn't matter all that much. Maybe you can't take it back, but you're not going to lose anything beyond it, even if you're killing Turkey. Yeah, I don't like this at all from the Italian. Feels like a big misstep.
Missed opportunity, in my opinion. So, if we look at the north, though, we see a tactical war between half of each side's units, which is such a weird situation. Because most of the truly all-out wars, tactical fights that I see are where both sides commit all of their units to the front, and it's all about who can bring more units to bear. Whereas here, France is pulling a bunch of units to the south to deal with Italy, and Germany is leaving a bunch of units in the east also to deal with Italy, but they can't make peace in the west because they're still fighting there.
Yeah,
it's odd. In diplomacy, there are very few times where I can think of true, three-way wars, actual wars in the late game. But I think this is a very nice time for one. Yeah. Truly, any of them can win.
Yep. I think it kind of does make sense for both France and Germany if Italy had been eliminating Turkey, because then Italy is a huge competitor for the crown. With Italy not eliminating Turkey here, I think it makes more sense for both France and Germany to pivot around and try and bring more to their northern front. Because whoever does that first is...
Italy is pulling back, right? They have to defend against Italy.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a big problem. They need to get Turkey to stab Italy pretty significantly in order to get them off their back.
They've been at war for the entire game.
I mean, here...
Well, not the entire game, the last few years.
Italy, Turkey's support held Italy in Romania, right? So this Bulgaria was presumably an agreed trade. Although,
sure,
agreeing on that as Italy is so painful. I really, really hate doing that. Kind of had to happen if you were going to pull Aegean back like this, because otherwise Germany ends up taking Romania. But... oh god, I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah,
but yes,
talking about it.
It's a super interesting situation. These three-way wars are really... Like, it's everyone at war with each other. That just doesn't happen. Should be noted also... Okay, it doesn't actually make a difference, but North Sea was convoying. It was convoying London to Holland. London did not actually move to Holland. So... Yeah, it doesn't make a difference because Ruhr was supported up to Holland here. But I actually think Ruhr to Holland was a mistake in this case because there was no unit in Burgundy, so you might as well have done Ruhr support Kiel to Holland, right? But yeah, ultimately it's just tactics there.
Yep, looks like this is going to be a tactic fest for the rest of the game.
Okay, so, let's go ahead to Winter 1906, yep. Army Constantinople, Army Venice, Fleet Naples. Those are all the builds, because obviously there were no changes in the north. Okay, so it's going to be interesting to see what Turkey does here, I think. If Turkey...
attack, right? Just attack.
If Turkey is loyal to Italy, I see Italy having a chance, but I don't see why Turkey would be. I think Turkey even has a chance at winning this game. It's a bit of a long shot, but they're Turkey. And France is pressuring Italy, Germany is pressuring Italy.
This game has a known end at 10, right?
Yes, at 1910.
1910, so I don't think that's possible.
Do you think they...
5... I don't know. I mean, maybe. Possible is, yes, it is theoretically possible, but I think Turkey's at it.
Turkey has the best...
It's Turkey, man.
Turkey has the best tiebreaker anyone left on the board. That's something important to consider. But yes, it is a long shot for them to get anywhere near where the other powers are right now. 10 centres means them picking up like Romania, Serbia, Greece, Budapest, and one of Vienna, Trieste. That's a bit of a hard thing to do with that many Italian
units. When Germany's got army in Moscow, Ukraine, Warsaw, Galicia, and Italy still got units in all of those spots, like, yeah, it can't happen, but we'll see. Anyways, you want to spring?
Alright, yep. Spring 1907. And yeah, Turkey is turning on Italy here, that makes sense. Although they're turning on Italy by supporting Germany into Romania. Germany's units in this game have been super interesting and just constantly going to places they have no intention of defending long term, but just disrupting other powers with them. And yeah,
also, didn't that mess with Turkey? Because now Germany can take Sevastopol.
Yeah, actually, there's nothing... Okay, no, Turkey can do something about that, in that if they triple support from Sevastopol to Romania, then they have a guess, right?
Yeah, but I mean...
But it's still... Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
actually...
fine.
But the more important thing here maybe is Holland to Ruhr, Munich to Bohemia, and Burgundy and Belgium just stop attacking the German and decide to draw...
Yeah, just a whole bunch of holds.
They decide to draw the V for Village Idiots, I assume. with Burgundy to Norwegian, Belgium to North Atlantic. But no! Why are you stopping attacking Germany here? I don't think this is the right move at all. And Germany, I think moving out of Holland is a bad plan as well.
Seems suicidal to me, but I mean, they both agreed to do it. Yeah. I don't know, like, yeah, I don't get it at all.
I just think it's like, how do you even get someone to agree to do this? No, both of them actually went through with it. Like, it's a kind of prisoner's dilemma where both of them have a huge advantage from stabbing right here, and neither of them did so, even though they're both direct competitors for the title. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, not a great idea, man. This is the opportunity.
Yep. You're not going to get another opportunity to make a V. That's a good point.
Also, it's a pretty good V. This is a very nice V.
Well, I mean... Yeah, okay. It looks a bit like a Y if you... but I guess it's
I
kind of
mean,
tough to make a V without ordering into the same province.
yeah.
So a better V here would have been Edinburgh moved to Burgundy, Burgundy to Norwegian Sea. I feel like that's like the V that a top level player would make. Maybe Ewok's not quite at the top of his game anymore with this.
Yeah, but that he has the downside of risking the North Sea.
But if you're already going all in on this Germany
But he's not all in.
alliance,
He's going mostly in.
yeah, okay, he hasn't had to
Whatever.
give up anything.
But yeah, I
Okay,
think
no,
Germany's one who's happiest about this, right? Because, like I said, you think that France has had the edge in this war the whole time, so getting a turn off just means France is going to be a little bit slower.
yeah, that's true. It's like I'm just looking at V possibilities now. Like
Yeah, you've
North,
been sunk.
here's the thing, right? North Sea moved to Burgundy, Burgundy to North Atlantic Ocean. I think that would have been the V that he made if he hadn't have had the lesson last time that an invalid move doesn't count as a hold. It would have been
Sure.
hilarious if he'd lost North Sea to doing that.
Of course.
But yes,
So,
okay.
one of the things, though, right, like, if France just attacks on this turn and just keeps the pressure up, Germany's position is actually terrible.
Yeah. I mean,
There
Baronston,
were so many
Norway.
ways France could have done it, right? Like, all of the ways you think of attacking here, right? It's move into Helgoland Bite. Move into Skagerrak would have been countered, but just YOLOing it into Norway, convoying an army into Holland while tapping Ruhr, right? All of the possible attacks, except for explicitly for the Skagerrak one, would have been punishingly effective. But none of them were made. And I don't know, it's just crazy.
Yep. It. Yeah. I. I feel like France should have continued the attack here. That's.
And I feel like Germany should have continued defending himself.
Yes. Agreed. Also.
But they just didn't. I mean, I don't get how they made the agreement, but they did, and I think both of them are equivalently worse off for it, so it doesn't matter.
Yep. I wonder if it's one of those things where the person said, "Okay, if you attack me here, I'm just gonna throw." It seems way too early to make a threat like that, but there's always a chance someone did, right?
I guess, but you don't have to believe their threats.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you don't believe their threats, then you can just lose as a result.
Yeah, but I don't. People claim to throw much earlier than they actually do in these MEM tournaments. Like, people care about winning a lot more than they care about pissing you off in the finals of a tournament, man.
Yeah, this is fair.
But look, it's not a thing. So
It's just
this south, right? Do we see
Yes.
anything interesting? Like,
no.
we're in the fall, right? No, whoa, we're still in the spring. Sorry.
Yeah, the
I would
main
not
thing was
fall,
just
but
this move down into Romania, right?
Yeah. But yeah,
So
let's go to the fall now.
yeah, I did want to say just quickly before we move to the fall, I think the actual experts V here is London to Burgundy, Burgundy to Holland. Like, look how beautiful that V would have been. I know it's not like huge,
Yeah, that's a baby V.
but yeah, it's a it's a small V, but it's like
Okay, what
angularly
about a bigger V?
beautiful.
What about London to North Africa and Belgium to North Africa?
Okay, now I could see that maybe. The problem with that V is just that the London to North Africa edge is going leftways, and so is the Belgium to North Africa. So it's a very misaligned V, I suppose. You kind of want one to be going right, one to be going left, just because otherwise someone has to rotate the board to really see that it's a V. But yeah. Okay,
Can we stop analyzing the V possibilities?
I'm done talking about the V now. I'm sorry. Okay, to fall 1907. Here we go. Right. Okay, Turkey actually, I guess, made the right call because Germany doesn't go for Sevastopol after all. They could have potentially taken it, but instead Turkey gets an extra build, which I think Germany is quite happy about regardless because it takes Italy more out of contention. Although
Yep, and gives Turkey more fuel to keep throwing after Italy. So Italy's not winning this game anymore. That's done. Unless Turkey can throw. If Turkey chooses to throw to Italy, that's fine. But if this game just continues playing naturally, Italy will no longer win.
Yep.
And so then it's just between Germany and France.
Yeah, and no one making any progress on that front.
This position looks so much better for Germany now than it did a little bit ago. Right? Germany having a fleet Denmark, Skagerrak, Norway is just really good for Germany. Right? That's 3 on the North Sea. France is going to lose the North Sea. France's whole edge has been France's dominant control of the North Sea this whole game, but
yeah, it's because France has 2 units, 2 fleets in the north. Like, that's not enough fleets. You've maneuvered 3 fleets down. Okay, defending against Italy is reasonable, but
he's going to get Tunis, maybe, eventually, after a whole bunch of grinding. But
it's one center.
Not for a bit.
It's one center, and it's like... I feel like you could equally defend against Italy with just Fleet Western Med, Army Piedmont, or Army Marseille. You do risk losing some stuff down there if Italy does pivot super hard against you, but it's better to lose some stuff down there than it is to lose North Sea right now.
Yep.
It could potentially be like a sunk cost thing. It's like, okay, I moved everything down, I need to get something out of it now, but I think Tunis is just... it's one center. Like, it's not going to be important.
Yep. Which is kind of neat. If you know you're going to lose the North Sea, you can just YOLO into Helgoland in the Norwegian Sea.
That's true. Or you could support your fleet down to Holland, right? And then if it gets dislodged, you just retreat wherever is open. So you actually get... You get Edinburgh free to do whatever, which was what you were saying with Norwegian.
Yeah, I think, oddly enough, I would rather move to Helgoland Bight here than do that. Because I want my fleet in Helgoland Bight.
It is more useful than having a fleet in Holland, this is true. Have we mentioned how France is not even going to get Holland now? There is, like, no reasonable way for France to obtain that. A couple turns ago we were saying it was basically guaranteed that France was getting Holland and Germany would have to hold the line behind that. But just the lack of fleets in the north have completely changed everything. Plus, that one turn where France could have...
what happened was France pulling Burgundy to the south, right? The army that was in Burgundy like 2 years ago is now in Piedmont, and that's not doing anything against Germany.
Yes.
And so, like, once that happens, France just loses the armies to backfill Burgundy and get into Ruhr with control, etc. So, I think that is when Holland became lost.
That's a fair assessment, yeah.
But yeah, so let's go to votes.
Let's move to the winter, yeah. There we go. So, Army Berlin going on the board, Army Constantinople, Fleet Tuscany coming off, which I guess France is happy about, but it's still... it doesn't mean that they win this war against Germany by any means.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see if I can... Like, I don't know, is France going to be able to keep pushing? Because he's like... I've seen these stalemate lines, and yeah, you're a guess away from being a turn away from taking Tunis. So, like... estimated, right, probably 4 years from now, you're going to have it. Or you're going to take Tunis, but what are you going to lose in the north? And how much will having a fleet in the mid-Atlantic Ocean, then back to North Atlantic Ocean or English Channel help? I think a lot.
Yes. It's definitely a sunk cost thing at this point, right? You're looking at Tunis and you're going, okay, if only I can get Tunis, I get to build a fleet in the north, and it's actually better than me moving to mid-Atlantic Ocean, because then I still keep this southern center.
Yeah.
And, you know, the fact that you have to filter fleets through mid-Atlantic Ocean one at a time is a huge deterrent to doing that too, because it feels so slow, but I think it is just better to back off at this point than it is to keep pushing.
Alright, well, want to see the news?
Well, let's quickly do the power rankings first. We do, of course, say goodbye to Russia. So there are only 4 powers left. Turkey is basically out of contention. This is a slim chance, but...
So, for what it's worth, Turkey is, like, much more in contention now because Germany and France haven't gained anything.
Yes.
Right? And so for Turkey to just like take Greece and Serbia and Budapest, which is then 9, is suddenly a huge deal because you said Turkey has tiebreaker over everybody.
Yes.
Meaning then if Italy takes Munich or Warsaw or anything from Germany and Germany goes down 1, then they're all at 9 and Turkey wins on tiebreaker.
Yes. That would
so,
be a
I mean,
fantastic way to do it.
Turkey is still the bottom, but like Turkey can totally win this because Turkey is Turkey.
Yeah, okay. So, and then I guess Italy after that. I guess Italy is still definitely in third, right? They're above Turkey here.
Yeah, definitely above Turkey, but other than that. And then between France and Germany, at this point, I think Germany's got it.
I think France... Yeah, Germany is above France too, especially considering Germany has the tiebreak over France. They don't have the tiebreak over anyone else, but they do have the tiebreak over France.
Yeah, but even without that, I just think Germany's going to end on a higher center count. Like, Holland is just... The tournament is not lost anymore.
Yeah.
Where's France going to get number 10 from?
That one turn of demilitarizing of France drawing a V, I think is pretty huge in terms of how these power rankings have turned out. So Germany in first place, France in second, Italy third, and Turkey fourth. Let's move ahead to spring 1908. And yeah, Turkey is just gonna walk into Greece. And there we go. Sunk cost over. France does choose to pivot now. That is super important.
Huh. But, okay, one of the things here I want to talk about, though, that I think is actually pretty relevant. Turkey chose to convoy their army in Constantinople into Sev, rather than convoying that army into Greece.
Yeah.
That's saying that you believe the army in Sev, which has pressure on Moscow and Ukraine, is more valuable than Army Greece, which has pressure on Serbia.
Now that you mention it, I think that does look like a mistake as well. It's just, I do get trying to take Germany down a peg, because Germany is the current top competitor. But for Turkey, I don't think that matters as much, because they only even get a chance if they can get Serbia and Budapest. So they should focus on that first and foremost, and then on Germany later.
Making Trieste impossible.
Yeah.
Like Greece, Serbia, Budapest, if you can get all of those by 09 and devote the entirety of 010 to Vienna and Trieste, I mean, that can just happen.
Yeah.
Although with France backing off, it suddenly seems much less likely, because those fleets in the Ionian are going to sit in Adriatic and stuff in Albania, so it looks likely that you're not going to go any further, but I don't think you're going to take Moscow is my main argument.
Yep. I agree completely. I think this is really difficult to cripple Germany from. If you work with Italy pushing up Galicia, with Galicia pushing Romania up and whatnot, maybe that will work, but I think it's more important to just take what you can get. But yeah, I agree completely in that with France backing off, it looks really difficult to achieve anyway.
So, in the north, Germany didn't take the North Sea.
Yeah, they went down to Heligoland Bight instead. So they're playing more of a defensive game, especially with St. Petersburg, Moscow moving up to St. Petersburg. It looks like their intention here is to cover every option that France has of taking from them, and just turtle up on the number of centers that they have.
Yeah, I mean, look, if another center never changes hand again, they win.
This is true. They have to rely on the south on Italy not getting 210. But that looks, with Turkey this strong, that looks reasonable.
Yeah, Italy's not going plus. Italy's not going to gain any centers from France, certainly, or any France centers off of Turkey, so Italy's stalled, and then it's just, where's France going to get to number 10 from?
Yeah, and actually France needs to get... Yeah, they need to get number 10 off of Germany, specifically, because otherwise...
Yes, because Germany has a tiebreaker.
Yes,
so
exactly.
It's just, yeah, I don't know, I think... And so Germany is doing... by getting Berlin into Silesia, Germany is able to help support Warsaw. So these 4 units are going to be able to hold in the east forever. St. Pete, Moscow, Warsaw, Silesia. That's just not going to get broken in a reasonable time frame.
Yep. And so I was initially a little bit unsure about...
Spoke too soon. Munich is gone.
Oh, yeah, Italy moved up to Bohemia.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because Berlin is in Silesia, Galicia can cut it now.
That's the thing, right? You always, in this kind of endgame situation where there's a Turkey versus Italy in the south, you're always thinking, oh, okay, they're going to be fighting each other, let's just... and let's just consider the west as the west and the east as the east. But yeah, Italy has a chance of taking Munich. And actually
And I
that
think
puts...
France would love to support that.
That also puts Italy on 9 still, because they lose Greece at the same time, but they have the
But they have a
tiebreak over
tiebreaker
Germany.
over Germany
Yeah.
and France.
Oh man. Suddenly things get super interesting.
And because there's an army in Sev, not Greece, Italy's not going to lose anything.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay. So...
Spicy.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think Germany did make the right move turtling up there, because they... Like, not losing Holland is actually quite important. If they can turtle up on this number of supply centers, they win, and that's fine. And pushing France...
Munich.
Pushing France out of North Sea doesn't really gain Germany all that much. But
Except for Belgium.
yeah, but actually they kind of needed to be aggressive now looking at it, because they're losing Munich. Man, this is... I don't know who wins
Strictly
this.
speaking, get you Belgium, because North Sea retreats to Helgoland, as we talked about, and then Helgoland can cut North Sea or Holland, and so it's not actually a guaranteed thing. And if because they're shipping Berlin to the east, they can't backfill Kiel, so Helgoland might could even go into Kiel. So,
Yeah.
okay. Helgoland Bight is an important place. I completely agree with that. It's fine. But, this is going to be a crazy endgame. The final year is truly anyone can win.
This really is. Shall we go ahead to full 08?
Let's see it.
Alright. So, full 1908, and yeah, Munich is lost just there. France doesn't even bother supporting it, but they cut Ruhr, which is essentially good enough. And yeah, I mean, Germany does manage to take North Sea now that Heligoland is covered, which is probably the better way to do it. But they're not going to gain anything else of that, I think. And yeah, I'm just like, wow. Also, I think the Turk putting that fleecing Greece is really hurting them now, because they are completely blockaded in. There's nothing there more they can do here, right?
Yep. I think if they had omniscience last turn, they would have gone after Serbia, and then they would have been in better shape and let them get bounced out of Greece here. But
yes,
omniscience, schmomniscience. From here, though, Turkey's going to be stuck at 7.
Yep.
But Italy's not going to take back Greece, which is important. Because it looks like it's just going to be a 3-way tie at 9. It's going to be 9-9-9-7.
Yeah.
Which is 34.
It's just like...
And then tiebreaker is the difference maker.
And tiebreak gives it to Italy. So really, I mean, France and Germany are looking to take one center if they can get it from anywhere they can take it from.
Yeah, but the tactics... Like, I'm going to need to look at this more closely, because it's possible that Belgium is going to fall. I don't think so, with this fleet in the English Channel now.
Yeah.
Right? And a fleet in London, so that's not going to go anywhere. And then, is Edinburgh at risk? No, there's an army in Yorkshire. Right? Because there's one more year in this game.
Yeah, well, we've got
Germany
2 more years,
Munich.
right? We've got 1909 and 1910. It
Oh,
ends
the
at the
full
end of
lead each.
1910.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay, then Germany can probably retake Munich.
Yeah, they do. It depends how much Italy dedicates to defending Munich, right? Because if they throw like Galicia into the fight as well, they are risking Turkey's aggression getting somewhere. But they have a better hold on that. I do agree that if it ends in 1909, then Italy has a massive chance of, like, a much better chance of winning this than if it ends in 1910, which it is. But I think Italy can still hold it long enough. It's a tough call.
Yeah, I mean, let's see the builds.
Germany is going down on units as well here. Let's go ahead and see what they take off. Holland.
Holland?
Is that... Ukraine was my guess. I thought Ukraine was...
If they lose Ukraine, they lose Moscow.
Do they? They only lose Moscow if Turkey and Italy work together, surely.
And is Italy not going to cut Warsaw to let Turkey take Moscow?
Okay, they probably would. This is true. Wow, okay. But Holland, I mean, what would you have taken off?
I'd have rage quit.
It's so tough. It's so tough. I think
every unit on this board is so important.
I think I still would have taken Ukraine off and gambled that Turkey and Italy wouldn't work together.
I mean, it's just a sure thing.
Hmm.
Right, in a full press game like this, in the finals of a tournament, they're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
And like honestly, right? If France takes Holland, and only Holland, but you as Germany retake Munich, no, France will be +1 and you will be neutral.
Yep.
No, you can't do that. Can't do it. Okay, North Sea can cover Holland. North Sea covers Holland. Yeah, no, I don't know. No, maybe Holland is the one you have to take off. Maybe you have to take it off. Because you need all of your armies to border Munich. You need to have 3 on Munich to retake it. Right?
Yep.
Maybe Denmark. I would probably take off Fleet Denmark.
Okay, then you don't have anything to cover Kiel, right?
Well, Holland.
Oh, yeah,
I'd just rather have an army in Kiel than a fleet.
Okay, that's fair. It's,
But, like, dude, it just sucks. I don't know. That disband is a bigger deal than I realized. Disbands are always important, even at 10 goddamn units.
It's pretty huge,
But
yeah.
Warsaw, Ukraine, and Moscow are going to hold until Silesia falls. But Silesia is not going to fall, and so those 3 are going to be locked. Right? So all those centers in the east are safe for Germany. How does Germany lose Holland after removing Holland?
It's a good question. So France needs to get into...
Belgium supports Burgundy to Ruhr. That's what happens.
Yes.
Right? And you do that, and then France slams the North Sea at the same time. You get into Ruhr, and then in the fall of this year, if France just attacks Holland from Ruhr with support from Belgium and hits the North Sea again with everything, you're going to take North Sea or Holland. If you take the North Sea but not Holland, then North Sea North Sea bounces, North Sea retreats to Helgoland, and then you take Holland from the North Sea. So you still have it by the end of 10. What do you lose if that happens? Munich can go to Burgundy, but Marseille can go to Burgundy to cover it. No, France is going to get this. He's going to get Holland, and that's going to be his 10.
I mean, shall we go ahead and see what happens in 1909?
Yeah.
Alright.
Unless Munich support holds Ruhr. No, that didn't happen.
That did not... Oh, Munich backed out. Okay.
What?
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 Okay, Germany clearly agreed to support the move into Romania in return for this, right? Is that...
What?
I don't think you should ever back out of Munich in this situation. I think that's giving up the chance at the top.
This is the point when, hell yeah, you're going to support me in Romania? Yeah, you bet.
And then you just
accept the support to Romania and hold Munich.
Yeah.
Oh my god! He could have moved into Berlin! Why is he backing out? What? He knows the game ends next year, right?
Yeah. All the players are aware. This is the kind of thing I can only explain with nuclear negotiation type stuff, where Germany was saying, look, I'm just going to let France win if you don't do this. But then, if Germany's doing that kind of thing, I feel like you can't
you
just
don't get
give
to make
into
that
it.
play if you're the winner, right? Like, you can make that play if you're in whatever. Like, if you're on a 3-center person, like, hey, I just want to dot and I'm going to throw because I don't care anymore. Right? And then they have to appease you. But, like, Germany's like, so now even if Germany loses Holland, and Germany's not going to lose Holland because now Kiel is manned, And so there's 2 defending Holland. And Munich is now vacant, so can't cut Kiel, so Holland is just lost, right? Germany's going to be back in Munich, and you're not going to retake Munich, because you didn't move into Bohemia or anything. You didn't move into Silesia. No, this is just it. Germany wins.
You could get French support back into Munich, maybe?
But I think Italy just forgot that Germany was taking a center from them.
Yeah.
Right? It was like, hey, we're both going to still be at 9, and so then I'll have the tiebreak over you.
But yeah,
it seems like that's what happened.
Yeah, I just massively dislike this.
I mean, okay, so taking Romania means they are going to get Greece.
Yes, okay, which is actually quite big. I'm just looking for explanations here. The move of Tyrrhenian Sea to Tuscany makes me think they were anticipating a full-on French attack.
A convoy, right?
Yeah, convoy into Tuscany here. Do you have to back out of Munich to defend against that? I don't think you do. No. So,
right, you can sell this as, I will back out of this thing and do all of the whatevers, and just don't leave Munich.
Yes. Yeah, okay, well...
I mean, let's go to the fall, eh?
Yep. Fall 1909. This is like a situation where I really want to see the press.
Yeah, actually.
And look,
how frequently do you talk to Village Idiot? I mean, Go Horns Go is part of the content creators one that we made. We could probably get him to give us some press.
Actually, Ewok was Village Idiot, who was another person in that game, right? It was
the sub, Germany. Yeah, he subbed in for Russia.
Yes.
And then my game went south, but we can talk about it.
Yeah. France slips into Tunis in the fall. And actually, so... you see here, Germany just going like, oh, okay, you've given me what I wanted in Munich. Sure, now I'm just going to ruin your chances. Support up to Romania. Why not? Like, this is exactly what Italy should have done on the previous turn. Just go, okay, you're giving me something. Sure, I'll let you give me something and not give you what you want. Germany does it instead. And hey, it worked.
Just wins the game because of it, right? Tyrolia support held Munich, right?
Yes.
Like, yeah, I mean, this is just great negotiations from GHC.
Yes.
Right? He sold Italy a bunch of bullshit. Italy bought it, and that's it, right?
Yep. I'm wondering if maybe this comes back to bite him on the final turn, in that now Italy has that unit in Tyrolia. They could just support the French through and go, you know, well, you did this. But
now there's going to be a build, right?
Oh, there is a build.
Build their army.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh boy.
Right, let's look at the builds. I mean, let's wrap this one up.
Okay.
Right, Army Berlin, Army Marseille. Army Marseille is not going to do anything.
Yeah. And so there is still a chance of Italy throwing to France if they're annoyed enough, but they have to actively give up their own centers to do it. And I think that's much less likely than if you could throw by, like, supporting.
What if they get to Bohemia, right? If Tyrolia goes to Bohemia and Venice moves to Tyrolia, that can happen?
That could work too. I feel like it's much less likely, because if you're doing something like that, basically you're dedicating your entire final year to saying, screw you, I'm giving this win to someone. Whereas,
to be fair, screw Germany for giving this game to France, because Germany, we had a deal, and then Germany broke it.
It's very reasonable, but I think it's less likely than if, like, Tyrolia could just support France into Munich. If that would be enough by itself, I think it's basically guaranteed that it would happen, because at that point you're like, okay, I'm not actually...
So, okay, there's actually something important here. It's a guess. Because North Sea cannot support Holland because it will be cut. Right? So Kiel has to support Holland or Munich.
That's true.
And so if Italy works with France and they successfully hit the right target of Munich or Holland, then I believe that's just it.
Oh man, you don't even need to support the French through to Munich, because that could be construed as throwing, right? You could even say to France, support me to Munich. Gives me a chance at getting even on with you guys at 9, maybe. And, you know, we've got this guess over Tunis in the south. So, it gives us both a shot at winning.
It does, but I think the tactics work out such that you can play it. So like Holland cuts Ruhr, and then like if Holland taps Ruhr, that suddenly doesn't work anymore.
Oh yeah, if like
oh no, but he'll be supportable Holland for that anyways. Yeah, maybe you can do it, and that's the alternative.
Yes,
but
it's well, it's interesting. Shall we go ahead to? Oh no, wait.
Alternatively, if you just move into Bohemia and Tyrolia, you can then support yourself in the fall, and then you don't even need France to do it.
That's true.
Necessarily in the fall, but then, you can do something in the spring either way.
The downside to that is potentially Marseille to Piedmont screws you up. And then I guess I wouldn't order Marseille to Piedmont as France here anyway, because you're only getting that if Italy has already agreed to give it to you. Most you can do is screw up Italy's attempts at screwing up Germany. But yeah.
Yeah. So let's go to the spring, right?
Alright, yeah. So I don't think the power rankings changed. Germany's still in first, France in second, Italy third, and then Turkey doesn't have a shot at this point.
Yep.
I think it's fair to say. So
in the spring,
yes,
we see that Italy and France coordinate and take Munich from Germany.
Okay.
But they lose Ruhr in the process. They do not retake the North Sea. Also.
Yes.
This is problematic. Because the North Sea can cut the English Channel. Ruhr can cut Burgundy. Tyrolia supports Munich. And everything supports Berlin. No, actually. It's not problematic. If Turkey supports Munich, France wins. Right? Because France is still at 10.
If Italy supports Munich, yeah.
Oh, no, because there's an army in Silesia now.
Yes. This is...
Because the army in Silesia. Ruhr cuts Burgundy. Tyrolia supports Munich, but there's 3 on Munich. Still. So that's just it.
Super interesting thing that Germany did here was just go, hey, Turkey, you know, I think I lose if you attack me here no matter what, so I'm just going to fully trust you. Go 100%. You can do whatever you like. I'm going to back off.
I mean, I don't get why he left Moscow for what it's worth. I think he didn't have to do that, but it's fine.
Yeah, and actually I think St. Petersburg goes back to Moscow anyway. This coming
sure, at this point, once it's guaranteed, but like, you could have just stayed in Moscow, and then even if you moved Sevastopol to Moscow, you still live.
Yeah.
But whatever.
I agree.
But yeah, so that's just it. Germany gets it.
So
nice.
Yeah, and in the south, it looks like this was an agreed swap of Tunis. France didn't even bother taking the guess on protecting it. I would have thought it would have been best to try it at least, but maybe you're
because
worried.
He's lost the tiebreaker on Germany, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right? Either he gets Munich and Germany goes down when he goes up one, or it doesn't, so.
Yes, that's fair. So let's go ahead to the fall then, I guess. And
this game was not anonymous, right?
This game was not anonymous, yeah. Everyone knew who one another were.
Yep. In an anonymous game, I think that he tries to go for the guesswork there because it might matter, but since you know it doesn't, you're just fine.
Yes. This is true. If you know where the tiebreak order is, then you're just like, okay, it really doesn't matter what I do here.
So in the fall, we see Munich get recaptured, and that's the game.
That is the game. Turkey, for what it's worth, going for what they can get. They do manage to take Budapest with German assistance. Good on them for fighting it out to the end. But obviously they weren't in contention for a little while there. And yeah, absolutely beautiful play from Go Horns Go. I think it was... This is like the kind of game where you really wish you could see the negotiation, because I think it was more the negotiation that won this than the tactics. Like, very much more. That one turn where France decided to make a V instead of attacking, if they had attacked, I think they win the game. Obviously, that's difficult to say for sure, because it's like... there were a lot of years left, so a lot could have gone differently. But if I was pointing to a key moment that changed the way the game played out, I think that would be the moment I would choose.
I would actually go way further back. I would go with the turn that Austria and Russia attacked Germany in whatever 03.
The way when they attacked Germany or when they stopped attacking Germany.
When they attacked Germany and then Russia stabbed Austria the following turn.
Yes, so I'm moving back to show that here. There, sorry, this turn here in 02 even.
God, it was 02.
Yeah. This just does demonstrate beautiful negotiation on the German part here. I do not think it was in the Russian interest to do this. They did get a center out of it, but then, like, the way you look at Germany's relations with Russia past this point, they were just continuously stabbing Russia and taking center after center off of them, and Russia continues to try and work with them. And Germany is like, okay, sure, I'll take your working with me and use that to get myself more and continue stabbing you over and over again.
The way that they interacted was very much a parasitic relationship where Russia just appeased Germany forever and then died.
Yes.
Right? At the end of the game, look at where Germany's centers are. They're just all of the Russian centers.
Yes.
That said, I think there was there were multiple opportunities there, right, where things could have gone better. I think, like, we were talking about it when Russia left Silesia the following spring, right? Like, I think stabbing Austria in the fall is, I think, still a reasonable play. Because Austria was a huge threat at the time, and it got Turkey out of Armenia. I just think then he needs to actually eliminate Austria and then know that Germany is next. Whereas it felt to me like he wanted long-term ally Germany.
Yes.
And I think that was the flip, right? You say stick to the juggernaut, and he didn't. But I think that turn was going into that, we thought Austria was one of the strongest powers on the board. He attacks Germany and just instantly dies.
Yes.
Instantly.
Yeah. And yeah, it was definitely a pivotal turn. I don't know that this is the turn I'd point at as the turn that Germany won the game, but I think it's
sure. Yeah, won the game. I agree. I completely agree. Germany won the game. But I think this turn affected the flow of the game the most.
Yes, that's definitely fair. If this goes the other way, if Germany loses Munich and Berlin, they have a super tough time getting anything. Because, like, that's not just a two-center swing. It looks like a two-center swing on the front of it. It's a two-home center swing this early in the game. So in order to build even again, you have to take that back, you have to hold them a year, you have to evac your units from that point and then start building there. And that's just so difficult to do.
And it's a huge tempo loss, because France is growing, and meanwhile, England's not going to be able to hold, so everyone's dying. But no, I think GHG played a phenomenal game, and I think this turn is indicative of just how we play.
Yep, absolutely. Well, massive congratulations to GHG for this one. This was an excellent final. I think it was incredibly interesting right to the last moment as well. As you heard in our discussions here, it could have gone a lot of different ways right at the end there, and GHG managed to pull it out, and well played. He ends up winning Nexus finally after quite a few attempts here, and coming out on top of a lot of, like, an incredibly strong board. These names are some of the best in the hobby right now. So yes, finally, to sum up that, beautiful play from GHG, an absolutely incredible win, and we will see you next time.